Are you wondering how to create and use a ChatGPT GPT to write blog posts effortlessly, to write client emails and respond faster than ever, to write proposals or cold pitches in seconds, to write social media posts? Stay tuned. Hi, all. I'm Dan Smigrod, founder of the We Get Around Network Forum. Today is Wednesday, December 11th, 2024. You're watching WGAN TV Live at 5, a podcast for digital twin creators shaping the future of real estate today. We have an awesome show for you: how to create and use ChatGPT and GPTs to help real estate photographers write. Our subject matter expert is Tom Sparks, founder and CEO of Scan Your Space, a division of Sparks Media Group. Tom, thanks for being back on the show.
Thanks for having me. The check this month is delayed. Christmas gifts are coming up and your money went elsewhere.
I'm looking forward to it being rerouted as soon as possible. Tom, before we jump into today's topic, tell our viewers about Scan Your Space and Sparks Media Group.
Yeah, so Sparks Media Group, I started 2018 to provide real estate media for the residential real estate agents. And that was going well. And then I started getting contacted about shooting properties such as offices and warehouses. And I realized that I should charge a lot more for that. So I launched Scan Your Space, and that caters to the commercial side of things and the hospitality industry and a bunch of other industries not related to residential real estate.
And between the two entities, Scan Your Space and Sparks Media Group, what's the list of services that you provide?
Ooh, so
I'll tell you what, let's save that question because it's going to be a topic for the Sparks Media Group GPT. So just to kind of frame today's show, Tom will share how he leverages ChatGPT and his GPT trained on his two businesses to transform his writing workflow. Tom's GPT has been trained on everything related to his business: website content, proposals, quotes, sample emails for responding to requests for quotes, client inquiries, social media, marketing materials. So, Tom, how about sharing your screen? And I want to ask your GPT some questions.
Okay. It's new, so be gentle.
Okay, so let's start with a fresh window on your GPT. So in fact, let's start out so everyone knows how we got there. Let's go to ChatGPT. That's fine. And then if anyone wants to chat, type in chat.com. It'll automatically go to ChatGPT. Then in Tom's menu on the left, it says Sparks Media Group. So let's click on that. We'll start a new chat, and that window happens to be open. If you would, please type in list Sparks Media Group services. Photography, videography, 3D virtual tours, including Matterport, iGuide, floor plans, virtual staging, marketing, and branding support. Tom, if you would, type in please create 3 columns, Sparks Media Group, semicolon, Scan Your Space, semicolon, and how they are different. And I'm actually doing this out of order, but we'll just put a period in new sentences. Compare services. So now it's comparing, creating a chart that's comparing Sparks Media Group services, Scan Your Space services, and what the key differences are between those services. If you could type in there, how do you charge for Scan Your Space? Per service pricing. And okay, great. And let's go in particular to say for scanning for Matterport. Pricing for scanning for Matterport. For Scan Your Space. Is this correct?
Uh, well, so Scan Your Space, I don't think I have anything listed for residential property.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So let's put it in for Sparks Media Group, pricing for Sparks Media Group. So this is relatively new. You've been working on your GPT for about a month in terms of training it and using it. So it may be that even some of the questions I ask, you may go, oh, I should add some more information to the knowledge base of the GPT. It's creating a chart. Is that correct?
Looks about right. Yep.
Okay. Um, if you would type in, respond to a Jim asking for a quote for 50,000 square feet. Okay.
I had this yesterday where I finished everything as Scan Your Space.
Okay.
So my contact information.
Okay. Dear Jim, name and contact person, thank you for reaching out to Scan Your Space for your 3D scanning needs. We specialize in creating immersive Matterport 3D virtual tours for large facilities like gyms, fitness centers, and other commercial spaces. For 50,000 square foot gym, here's an overview of what we can provide. Service proposal for Matterport, including a fully interactive virtual walkthrough dollhouse, pricing starting out, estimated, add-ons available, detailed. I mean, this is really crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that the
pricing's a little low, but yeah.
okay? Well, if the pricing's off, that's something you'll know to go back to your GPT for training purposes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this the kind of thing that you might normally have done manually in the past?
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I was kind of a layman in the sense that I would get maybe several of the same type of requests, maybe over a month period. And I would type each email out. I wouldn't even cut and paste from previous emails. And so this has really helped out. I actually used it yesterday in responding to a client request for a floor plan. And the client said, we just need a floor plan for remodel purposes of the house. And I said, well, have you thought about doing a 3D tour as well? Because you can get a data file from it. And she said, no, can you tell me more about it? So I used ChatGPT to craft up an email that explained the differences between iGuide and Matterport and a black and white 2D floor plan. And I sent it to her and she loved it and forwarded it to her client who would be the one paying for it. So it helped out because there was a pretty long email.
Can you write out the prompt? I know it won't be word for word, but it just is an example of what you've done the other day.
Let's see.
While Tom is creating that prompt, you can visit scanyourspace.com and sparksmediagroup.com. In fact, I noticed that at the end of every discussion, as Tom was asking for information, it always gave an email address and website. So what Tom is writing out is a prompt: respond to an email from a client asking about the difference between an iGuide 3D virtual tour, a Matterport 3D virtual tour, and a black and white floor plan. The client would like some information. Anything to add?
Yeah, it was interesting when you're talking and I'm trying to think at the same time.
Okay.
The client would like some information about client. Let's do this. The clients in East Bay.
So for our viewers, ChatGPT and GPT are similar and different. So you could think of a GPT like an app for your iPhone. And just like you can go to the iPhone iOS store or Google Play for your Android device, and there are millions of apps, there are probably hundreds of thousands of GPTs that exist today that have been created by the community. And in this case, Tom has created a GPT specifically for Sparks Media Group, which includes his division Scan Your Space, to train it on everything he can possibly think of that's public knowledge, so that when he asks a question like the following, he doesn't have to keep manually thinking and typing it out. All the knowledge is there. So far,
Yeah.
Tom's
Sorry, go ahead.
Tom's prompt is: respond to an email from a client asking about the differences between an iGuide 3D virtual tour, a Matterport 3D virtual tour, and a black and white floor plan. The client's end use case would be to take the information provided and give it to an architect to render what a home remodel could look like. Anything to add before you hit go?
Nope. I'm gonna hit go, and I just was gonna ready to go.
Yep.
All right. In regards to all the GPTs, you can see I have some here that we've used previously. And we'll get into it probably where you can view all the other ones. You can make GPTs that are public, that anybody can see, and they can explore them through this kind of app store, if you will. You can also make some that are private for just you to see, and I've done that in a few instances too, where I've created GPTs on various topics and not shared them with the public. Let's go back to the top.
So it says, "Dear client, thank you for reaching out with your questions about the difference between an iGuide 3D virtual tour, a Matterport 3D tour, and black and white floor plans. I'd be happy to explain the distinctions and how each option can support your goal of providing information to an architect for a home remodel." This is really crazy, isn't it? I mean, just it's just
Yeah.
it knows everything because you're an iGuide provider. It knows whatever you've trained on iGuide. It knows about Matterport. Okay, black and white, and I'm going to see if we can take it one step further. Turn some, if you could type, turn the info about Matterport, iGuide, and floor plans into a chart, if that's possible.
And from what I remember, this verbiage is almost identical to what it told me yesterday.
Okay.
Particularly in recommending an iGuide tour. I did think about creating a chart, but probably
crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. For the longest, I've had agents call me and say, I'm torn between iGuide and Matterport. What do you recommend? And I always tell them at the end of the day, it's like Ford versus Chevy. Everybody has their preference, but there are some differences, and I have to go into what those are. And I haven't really figured out a nice, clean, pretty way to get that on my website. And so I think what I'm going to do maybe after our call is create a chart, a comparison chart like this, maybe leave off the floor plans and just have,
Yes. It,
instead of that.
why don't you try this? Go into the let's make that chart for the moment. Let's ask it just for the first 3 columns in the chart instead. I'll show you where I'm going here in a second.
Does that look good?
Yep. And you remove the last column. So now it'll go do the chart again without that. And please, and then in the prompt, you can say, please provide the HTML for the chart.
Well, and see, that's something I didn't think of when I was thinking about creating the chart for the website. I was
Would that be helpful?
super helpful because I was just going to screenshot it and save it as a JPEG and embed it. Or
You do that, but if you wanted his actual code, and then you could also then anyway, it's probably more than for today's show. But the fact that you could ask for HTML code is crazy.
Well, and why this is probably more useful, I don't know if it matters in context of today's show, but
yeah,
Google can search this where they can't search the writing on a JPEG.
On JPEG,
at least to my knowledge.
Okay, I'd like to ask for one more example, and then I'm gonna ask you some questions. Is write a cold pitch email to a gym that's 50,000 square feet about Matterport in particular and the other services in general from Scan Your Space. Dear Jim, name and contact. I hope this email finds you well. I'm reaching out on behalf of Scan Your Space, a leader in immersive 3D virtual tours and professional media services. We specialize in helping businesses like yours showcase their spaces in innovative and impactful ways. So it's making a pitch. I happen to not like the way it's done it, and I'm going to ask it to do something a little bit different. Is focus on how the Matterport scan can help the gym get more members. And let's leave off the photography services for the moment.
Let's leave off the other services for
just leave off the other services for the moment.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Well, I was going to say I did this yesterday for targeting a few different museums in my area, and I drafted some emails, and it was pretty cool. I said, compose an email to a museum. Compose an email on the benefits of having a Matterport tour of this particular museum, Acme Museum. And I say Acme generally, but it could have been an aviation museum. It could have been a art museum or whatever. And I did an Air Force Base museum near me. And it crafted an email about why a Matterport tour could be beneficial to this aviation museum. And it referenced a lot of key points about that particular aviation museum. And then I did the same thing for a military museum, and it did the same thing, and it specifically referenced key features of this particular museum. So I thought that was pretty cool, and it really helped personalize it and not make it such, kind of like a spam email in a sense.
Which I think is a great point, because all I said was a gym. It's 50,000 square feet, as opposed to saying what the name of the gym was and where it's located, in order to give it the benefit of knowing about that gym.
Yeah.
Maybe even put in the gym's website, and then really have it do a much better job than it even just did. Have you had it? So again, you've been using the GPT that you trained about a month ago, and you've been using it for about a month. Have you created any blog posts yet with it?
I have. This month I created 4, I think, here on the website. So I did one about the advantages of having a Matterport tour for a small business. I did what type of businesses could benefit from a 3D virtual tour. Benefits of having a 3D virtual tour of a construction project. And then benefits of having a 3D virtual tour on Google Street View.
So this is December. Was this in November that you wrote these, or
Sorry, yeah, November.
in November? And then how many blog posts had you written prior to using the GPT to write them?
1 in March of last year.
March of last year.
Slacking, so this greatly helped me.
Well, I suspect you're a good writer, but you just don't like writing.
I'm a good writer. Not English, I wasn't my greatest subject in school, so I don't like putting commas and exclamation points and punctuation in.
Well, how hard was it to write your blog posts?
With ChatGPT, it was easy.
Yeah. Now, did you do it with ChatGPT or GPT?
I'm sorry, with GPT. Yes.
So this is the Sparks
Media
Group GPT.
Yeah.
And so it was able to use the knowledge specifically from your website.
Correct.
Now, I noticed you got into a little bit of a kerfuffle in the last day or so, posting to the We Get Around Network forum. Do you want to talk about that? Maybe what you learned from that?
Yeah, sure. So I've used a Matterport overlay NPM bed a couple times and had decent success with it. I found it a little bit difficult to use at the beginning, and somebody who rented a Pro 3 camera from me recently was telling me about MP Skin, and they used it and they liked it. And so I was thinking, okay, well, what are the differences between MP Embed and MP Skin? And so I used my GPT, not ChatGPT, but mine, and I asked to choose the right tool for Matterport tour. Like, what were the differences? And to your point about creating a column and getting the HTML code, I didn't do that. I actually did what I said and created a screenshot and saved it as a JPEG, and that's what this is. But I created this article yesterday and then posted it on the We Get Around Network forum. And some of the comments were that this wasn't that accurate and it could have been better. And, I guess my ignorance with MP Skin, I didn't really, I didn't check it as well as I could have probably.
Well, member Mesh Images, I think called you out in the forum, because I think he happens to use both tools, and was able to immediately look at the post and know that there's some challenges. I think there's probably 2 takeaways from that, Tom.
And I love that, by the way. I love criticism.
Well, I think it moves us all forward in a good way. I think my 2 takeaways from that is ChatGPT is awesome at rewriting stuff that it knows. So had you first trained it on each of the websites and said, here's the website for MP Skin, here the website for MP Embed, look for yet more knowledge on the topic, and to say, help me understand what the features and benefits are of MP Skin, MP Embed. and then ask to compare the two. I think the first thing is the knowledge piece. Is first letting it know it's a subject matter expert in this topic, and then help guide it to the knowledge so that it can research better. But I think the second thing is probably maybe a little bit more helpful for our viewers, is where ChatGPT is really going to excel is rewriting stuff that you've already told it. So if you had already done all the research and you had pulled in all this knowledge and said, help me, even if it was taking screen grabs of each of the websites and of the key things, and say, help me understand how these two compare, and then write about it. As long as you've given it the facts, then you're going to be in a much better place in terms of rewriting and repurposing the information, as opposed to an in general question where you don't know what source it went off to go get that information and how current that information was.
Correct.
Yeah. On your GPT, just are there some highlights of things that you've like, oh gosh, this has just been tremendously helpful doing X, Y, Z? Blog post I heard was one based on the knowledge that you've trained it. Yeah, email marketing, are you doing that?
I have done a email market campaign, and I used it to help generate some of the content. I used it to kind of bolster what was on both of my websites in regards to just particular categories. I wanted to fill in with some information. So I think I might. Am I still sharing with you? Right.
You can go ahead and share your screen. So I think what I heard is, since you've been around a number of years, you've already said, oh, could you take my website and tweak it some? Could you rewrite the benefits? Could you rewrite the features? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. So like under my services on my Sparks Media Group website, I have photography, videography, 3D tours, floor plans, and virtual staging. I didn't have good descriptions for each, so I used it to help come up with, these paragraphs about each of the different types of photography.
Can you accept cookies?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, so each of these,
using it to write copy for your website or to tweak your website to add some copy to it.
correct. Yep.
So that would be promotional content. In the last 30 days or so that you've been using the GPT, how helpful has it been for responding to emails? You've mentioned some. Have there been more examples?
Yeah, I can't think of them off the top of my head, but I use it pretty much every day now. I just keep a window open, and I'm frequently jumping over into it, saying, "Hey, what do you think about this?" or "How can I word this better?"
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. I was talking to a colleague who is in a different country, and he said, we were on a Zoom call, and he said, "Sorry, my English isn't that good." And I said, "It's okay, mine isn't either." And I really think that, throughout my day, I'm like, geez, if I could just figure out how to word this better. And Chat GPT, the GPT that I created as well, has been super helpful for that, for, just translating my jumbled up thoughts into something cohesive. Not everybody's a esteemed, writer as you are.
Careful that you give me too much credit, because I use ChatGPT every day, and I use specific GPTs all the time. So thank you, but I should thank ChatGPT for helping me, because I often use it. I love writing. My degree's in journalism. I write every day. I write, but then I go, maybe this could be done better. And I put it into ChatGPT, and it makes it better. And And I don't think it's any one time that I would have said, "Oh, it's worse." No, it really is better. It's like I mean, I wanted to do this show really to inspire real estate photographers, Matterport service providers, iGuide operators to be using these tools, because it's so incredible how it can make your life easier. It just seems like it's 10 times easier. I mean, you said you did one blog post maybe in a few years, and now you created your GPT, and within a month you had 4 original blog posts that were useful, helpful, relevant to your website.
Yeah, yeah, and that's just, I was sharing the story with you earlier that uh, I have a family member in the medical field, and I uh, am going to create a GPT for her to be able to help write papers and lectures and things of that sort. Something that would have taken her, weeks to do because of the complexity of it. I ran an example past her yesterday, and she was like, "Oh my God, this is 99% accurate." And the one that's not, we were able to have GPT adjust it, and it corrected it to her liking. So huge across all industries.
How about you show us how you trained your GPT? Could you go ahead and share your screen? I'm sorry, I keep taking
Yeah.
you off screen share. But if you could go ahead and share your screen again. So you're going down to Edit GPT, and there was a button off the top that says Configure. And so we can see, okay, there's an icon for your logo, the name, Sparks Media Group, description is how may Sparks Media Group and Scan Your Space help you. And then if you would, take us through the instructions. That's the meat,
Yeah. So
the
what
meat
did
of the
I
matter.
think I guess I can expand this window bigger. Um, so you helped me. I was going to say a genius, but you're pretty much the genius. Helped me create this. Um, and so you're a subject matter expert on Sparks Media Group, and we put my website and Scan Your Space. You're also a subject matter expert on all things digital marketing or professional real estate photographers and real estate agents and real estate brokers. Uh, oh, here you go. That's how you can make it bigger.
Ah, terrific.
Um, uh, here we go.
Please continue to read. Yeah.
You're also a subject matter expert on Matterport, iGuide, and related digital twins and virtual tours. Potential clients may use this GPT to learn more about the services that Sparks Media Group and Scan Your Space provides. Always provide the following information on the first time a conversation begins. For more information about Sparks Media Group, please visit sparksmediagroup.com. For more information about Scan Your Space, please visit scanyourspace.com. Email order at sparksmediagroup.com. If the question is about Scan Your Space, then use email info@scanyourspace.com. And then we gave it some links to our past conversations that you have the transcripts of. I believe that's what these were.
Ah, okay. So Tom has been a guest on WGAN TV Live at 5, I don't know, maybe 7, 8, 9, 10 times. And so I provided you with the transcripts of each of those shows because that's part of your knowledge. So as an example, Tom has done a show talking about scanning a baseball stadium, about scanning a very large community. It's really talked about the scale and the scope of Scan Your Space, and Sparks Media Group, the different services, and there's deeper dive. So if you know, there's an hour show where Tom is talking about his expertise with the Matterport Pro 3 camera. That's part of that transcript in a Google Doc is part of the training of the Sparks Media Group GPT.
Yeah. And then I went and gave it my LinkedIn. I went through every page on my Sparks Media Group website and put that in there. I wasn't sure if it would just read everything under the parent, URL, or if I had to put each individual page in. So I just
I would say it's safe to put every individual URL. I'm not a subject matter expert on this topic, but we might ask ChatGPT. The question is, do I need to put in each website link? And there's something related to a spider, and is your website indexable? And if it is, then you should just probably have to put in sparksmediagroup.com and scanyourspace.com and not do all the individual pages. But I think at the moment it's probably safer to literally to put in every link.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so then I have, the scanner space links, and that was that.
Okay. Conversation starter.
So these are kind of just general questions that somebody could start a conversation with. And we chose Sparks Media Group services include and Scanner Space services include. Maybe one of them could be, tell me more about Sparks Media Group, or what is Sparks Media Group's business hours, that sort of thing.
So what we see on the left is the training. What we see on the right is the preview of what everybody sees. And so Tom chose to put 2 questions as thought starters that people might. His Sparks Media Group is a public GPT. Anyone that pays $20 a month or more with OpenAI, the parent company of ChatGPT, for a subscription can use Sparks Media Group GPT. And so if you're going to train it for your own purposes to respond to quotes, to write emails, etc., then you might as well just make it public so that anyone else that stumbles on it that hasn't an account, and maybe today that's not a lot of people in your niche, but at some point, having a public GPT could make it super easy for people to just ask it questions directly and engage with you.
Yeah.
And then you had some other things to show us there on the left side.
So if you upload files under knowledge, conversations with your GPT may include file contents. Files can be downloaded when code interpreter is enabled. So here you can apparently upload files, Word documents, PDFs, that sort of thing. I haven't done that on this one. I did do it on a private one I was working on, and it didn't handle the PDFs too well. And I don't know if that was just because the way they were formatted, or if it had to do with the OCR character recognition.
I would say sometimes I subscribe. I would suggest you do this too. Subscribe to the status report of ChatGPT, because it's often down or slow or it's having problems. And that way, while you're working on things like training, you can immediately go, oh, gee, I'm having a problem. I wonder if there's something in the status of GPT that's problematic at the moment. But I use that feature of upload files all the time. And every once in a while I have a problem. And every once in a while that problem is typically related to ChatGPT is having a problem at that moment. As long as you don't check that code interpreter and data analysis block, that no one would be able to type in to say, hey, could you give me a printout of all the documents that's in this? So I would say, unless you know what you're doing for some reason, is leave that box unchecked.
Have you been able to upload PDFs successfully?
Yes.
Nice. Okay.
PDFs, PowerPoints, .docx documents.
Okay.
And again, I think pointing out for our viewers today in the instructions, it's not rocket scientist stuff. It's not like you're telling it that you have to speak in a very organized fashion, or you need to speak in code. It's just like how you talk to someone and even if you spiral in your conversation, it doesn't matter. It somehow it can figure it out. I think my tip would be, when you're training a GPT, is create a Google Doc for all the things that you want to put in instructions, so it's easier for you to copy and paste, particularly if you're making changes, because as you were saying, Tom, it's a little bit hard to resize that box and then so it's easier just to refresh the whole copy.
I'll tell you real quick. I had some downtime at an appointment I was at, and I got on through the app on my phone, and I said, I want to create a database of properties that we photographed. I want the database to include, uh, the address, the property type, and I also want it to include a pin on a map, as well as the ability to upload photos from that particular property. Can you do, or how can it be done? And it spit out, a bunch of different ways to do it. And then it said, would you like help writing the code for this? And I said, yeah. And it gave me a whole bunch of Slack and Python scripting and all this stuff that's way above my pay grade. But I could see where that would come in handy for somebody who is a developer, trying to write code for something, or even just somebody who's trying to add a database of VHS tapes for their home collection, or, something like that.
Let's talk about a couple other things. In fact, if you put it back on screen share, we'll just do a couple other things. We've been talking about two things, ChatGPT, and we've been talking about the GPT specifically for Sparks Media Group. But there's also other GPTs, and I thought it might be helpful, Tom, if you could, if you could go back to here, then go to Explore GPTs. And one of the ones that I find super helpful, and again, there are probably hundreds of thousands of GPTs that people have created in various categories of writing, productivity, research, programming, education, lifestyle. It really is insane of the number of GPTs that do something specific. And so I want to give you an example. Is I had a need to, there was a long video and I didn't want to, in fact, Tom, I think what I'll do is, let me take you out of here as let me take you out of screen share. I think I'll go share my screen. And let's see. And maybe you'll comment on as I do this. I'm going to go into ChatGPT, go into Explore GPTs, and I'm going to search for YouTube because I like to, in fact, let me not go so fast for everybody. When I typed in YouTube and I was interested in summary, this one I can see has had 1 million views. This one has had a 700,000 uses. This one has had 300,000. This one has had 25,000. So sometimes what you might want to do for quickly is to say, well, this one's already pretty popular. I'll go select that. And then I'm going to take the URL for a video from a WGAN TV Live at 5 show that Tom and I did not too long ago for Matterport 2024 fall release. Go back in here, generate a summary for your YouTube video. It's going to probably ask me in a second to provide the link. I'll go provide the link. So now it's summarizing this video. And I might use that summary for a description of my YouTube video. It's giving a lot of other information here, which is kind of interesting. Down here, it talks about, would you like to write an article based on that knowledge? It's really crazy. I'm actually interested in the transcript. So let's see what happens when I type in transcript. It's pretty long. So I'm going to say first 5 minutes with time code.
I watched an 1.5-hour interview yesterday, and I didn't think to use the summarizer for that, but it would have probably came in handy.
Yeah, Tom, I do that sometimes. I go, oh gosh, that video, that it looks like it's going to be really helpful. It's a 1/2 hour long. I just don't want to spend I don't know if I want to commit to watching a 1/2 hour at the moment, but I can have ChatGPT or the GPT summarize it for me first and say, oh, did I get enough information? Yeah, that was fine. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take all this information for the moment, and I'm going to say, I'm going to go back into Sparks Media Group, GPT, and I'm going to say, write a YouTube headline, write a uh, YouTube video summary, and create a tag list, create a YouTube tag list that is in comma delimited format that I can copy and paste. So I'm assuming that I'm Tom. Tom has gotten a copy of the WGAN TV Live at 5 show. He wants to put it on his awesome YouTube channel at Sparks Media Group. And now Tom has quickly gotten a headline for the video. He's gotten a YouTube description, and he's gotten YouTube tags that he can immediately copy and paste. And he can interact with this content as well. So, can you include Sparks Media Group within the YouTube title?
The tag list for me would be super helpful, because oftentimes when I'm uploading videos, I do the same 3 or 4 tags, and it's not always like super specific to the video I'm posting.
Yes. I mean, I wouldn't spend, 2 ounces of brain power when you know that ChatGPT can give you the SEO optimized tags that fill up your 500 characters.
Well, now I have to go through 500 videos and edit all of my tags.
Well, you find somebody on Fiverr to go help you do that.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just, find that particularly helpful. And explore GPTs. I can't say enough good things about it. In terms of productivity, I mean, it's amazing all these different GPTs that do very specific tasks. It's
a resume GPT there, and I don't know if you're old enough to remember the days of either writing your own crappy resume or finding somebody who knew how to write resumes and paying them to do it. But now you have ChatGPT do it for you.
I'm going to go back. One last thing I want to type here is a list of, let's see, I want to put list of WGAN TV Live at 5 shows that Tom Sparks has been a guest.
It's going to come back with, who's that? December 22, 10 tips. Yeah, I think we did 10 shows probably.
I think it's missing some. So I've asked it for any more. Nope, didn't come up with any more at the moment. Okay. In addition to previous time. Okay. So it did find some more there. Okay. Create a table with all the info provided and number the rows. Date, episode, description, link to the episode. Isn't that great?
Wow.
Right. I mean, put this on your website.
Put it on my Wikipedia page.
Yes. Isn't it amazing? I'm curious to see how many it's got. Then we might figure out which ones are missing and why. It's still going. Anyway, I think the point is for our viewers is just whatever it is that you, ChatGPT is totally free. Anyone can use it. It's, as we speak today, Wednesday, December 11th, 2024, ChatGPT 4.0. It is super smart. And it's totally free. So you say, why pay for the $20 a month? If you pay OpenAI $20 a month, you can create a GPT and you can use GPTs. And there's no throttle of you were using ChatGPT so much that you're limited to how much you can use it a day. So those are primarily why. If you really get excited, just this week, ChatGPT announced a $200 a month service that is like having a PhD on staff. So when ChatGPT came out about 2 years ago, it was like having a conversation maybe with a sixth grader. Then it got to be kind of a teenager. I would say ChatGPT 4.0 is like talking to an adult, and there is an option to have a PhD on staff. It's nuts. Tom, uh, uh, in the last few minutes of the show, just maybe at a higher level, can you speak about what impact creating and using ChatGPT GPT Sparks Media Group has meant to you in the last 30 days?
Yeah, it's easily freed up 2 to 3 hours a day in just stuff that I don't want to do or type in. I'm on the computer a lot and I'm always juggling different things. And so to be able to create different conversations, to go back and reference them, cut and paste when I need to, super helpful. On a personal note, I was thinking about using it to help create a line of books and training courses and stuff. Well, family related books and then some training courses for the business. And so, yeah, just super helpful. It's like the assistant that I needed that I didn't want to pay for.
So you have a 24/7 assistant, and does the assistant ever talk back, ever give you a problem?
No, it steered me wrong on MP embed versus MP skin, but me and the assistant will have at it after the call. Downloading the app to the phone, highly recommended. I use it on a regular basis on my phone when I'm out and about. I even use it to argue things with friends and family that, could be the earth is flat versus the earth is round, or, politics or whatever it is. I'm always looking up stuff with it and having comebacks and, trying to fact check what people say.
Yeah, on my phone, which I think is the iPhone 16 Pro Max,
Yep.
I have the little button on the side, so I can always. I use this all the time.
Smart. Program it to launch ChatGPT instead of Siri, because Siri's not that smart.
Yeah. Well, as of today, because I just downloaded 10.2 and on the iPhone 16 Pro Max, and I've just connected Siri to ChatGPT 4.0, that I have the full benefit of my paid $20 a month account
Yeah.
at the touch of one button.
GPT is unavailable at this time.
Well, I have it on airplane mode, so that's what's happening there. So, final thought. Any just like if you were talking to Matterport service providers that are watching the show and they're scratching their head trying to, it's like, should they go pay the $20 a month and create a GPT that is all about their business?
Yeah. I'm not, affiliated at all. I'm not getting any money for this, but I would highly recommend it. I see a lot of posts online about how would somebody write up a contract to provide scanning services to a business, or how would somebody do a request for a quote, a bid on a job, and write up a contract for licensing and use and all that for tours. So I've used it in those cases and it's worked. And some things I just cut and paste little pieces of, some things I cut and paste the whole part of it. And yeah, it's super helpful.
I think my tip is, if you're not using ChatGPT every day, use ChatGPT every day. It's totally free. And
Yeah.
after you have gotten accustomed to that. Now imagine being able to create a GPT on your business that knows everything about your business so that it can help you respond to emails. It can help draft emails. It can draft proposals. It can create blog posts for you. It's just endless in terms of the amount of content that it can create, and the quality of that content will be way much better if you take the time to train a GPT specifically on your business.
And real quick, as you were talking, I was thinking this is very akin to when we went from remembering how to get to a place or using a Rand McNally map to switching over to GPS and navigation in our cars. This is the GPS navigation, and the old way of thinking of a thought and typing it out and then revising it and doing all that is the McNally map way, or the MapQuest way, or whatever it was before GPS.
Yeah. I mean, just to take it a step further, I no longer use Google. My Chrome browser extension is ChatGPT. So anytime I ask a question, I'm not searching through the ads or trying to figure out which content. And, you might say, well, Google now does AI and it summarizes stuff. I've just found ChatGPT 4.0 in my Chrome browser, way more powerful, and I just constantly get immediate answers to everything that I'm looking for. Tom, I wanted to give you the final thought. What's the final thought about either ChatGPT in general or GPTs in particular?
A lot of people are, I think, scared of where AI is going and where this is going. I think of it as a, at the end of the day, it's going to be really hard to replace people in certain situations. And I don't see this as replacing humans. I think it's super helpful, like I said, many times before. And I'm just grateful that you showed it to me. I probably owe you a couple dozen beers or whatever your drink of choice is.
Sparkling water would be great.
Okay.
Tom, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure.
We've been visiting with Tom Sparks, founder and CEO of Scan Your Space, a division of Sparks Media Group. You can find Tom at scanyourspace.com, sparksmediagroup.com, on his YouTube channel at Sparks Media Group, in the We Get Around Network forum at Scan Your Space, and now in the ChatGPT store at
Sparks Media Group.
At Sparks Media Group. For Tom in California, me in Atlanta, for Tom and Dan, you've been watching WGAN TV live at 5.